I'm going to show you something today that is an easy way to make really nice sounding melodic motion. What we're going to be looking at is tenths. This is an interval beyond the octave. It's the same as a third, but just moving the top note up by an octave. So we call it a tenth because the octave has 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Eighth note would be the same note we started on. Ninth note would be the same as the second note. 10th note would be the same as the third. Just separated by an octave. And, you know, this is a great way to be able to move some chords around, have something that sounds really nice. That separation between the two notes gives it a really nice sound. And it's a way that you can play really nice sounding things when you're just playing alone by yourself or with a band, but I think that, you know, the ability to make nice sounding chord patterns and melodies when you're by yourself just playing alone is just a good skill to have. I have a lot of enjoyment that I get just out of playing because I'm not always playing with other people. In fact, a lot of the time I'm just practicing by myself or just playing stuff. And I think this is a nice thing to get under your fingers, so you're not just practicing patterns that don't sound super musical, but you got something that you can play that sounds really nice and sounds like you're playing a chord melody without, you know, a bunch of really complicated chord shapes. You can do this with tenths, and it sounds really nice. So what I'm going to show you is just the different ways we play tenths on the different string sets, and then how I do some kind of manipulation of the top note to create melodies. Like that, so that you can play around with this on your own. So we're going to be in the key of D today for all the string sets. I'm going to start with the middle string set here because it's the one that I just kind of think is the most fundamental. It's the easiest for me to play. It's just right out of like a regular bar chord, type 2 bar chord. It's just I got the D 5th fret on the 5th string and then the F sharp 7th fret on the 2nd string. And so if I want to go up a full scale just doing this, I've only got 2 different shapes. That's another reason why this is easier than, say, doing like, you know, 7th chords going up, where you have 4 different shapes. You got your major, your minor, or major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, and half diminished. When you're doing just 10th, you've just got 2 shapes. You got a major shape, you've got a minor shape. When I do the minor shape, my fingers are going to be 1 fret closer together. So I've got my D major, my 1 here. If I go to the 2, I go to my minor shape. When I go to the 3, I just keep that same minor shape. When I go to the 4, I've got my major shape again. I've got 10th fret and 12th fret. Keep that shape when I go to the 5th. Go to the 6th, it's the minor shape. So that note on the 2nd string is 1 fret closer. I've got the 14th fret and 15th fret. Keep that for the 7th of the scale. Then when I get to the octave, I'm back to the major shape. So if I play the whole scale with these tenths, already I can make some really nice things out of that if I just kind of skip around like this. I think you'll be able to come up with some really cool ideas. And on that last one, I went down to here. So we can also go backwards, obviously. From the D, we can go to the 7th, which is minor shape, the 6th, and then if I go back to the 5th here, got my open 5th string, 2nd fret on the 2nd string. So I've got this whole range from the 5 of the key all the way up to the 1, and I can go up the scale all the way to the 1, 2, and I can even hit the 3rd up here, way up here. But if I was to take a progression like a 1, 4, 2, 5, I could go like this. It's kind of a nice way, nice sounding little riff. Oops. I could add more, 3, 6. 4, 7. Sounds pretty cool. Do that again. 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4, 7. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. If I switch to a different string set, I could go to one of 2 other options for this kind of shape. I can go to 6th string root, which is 6th string and 3rd string. And now my major shape, now this is going to be like our regular type 1 bar chord. And this shape here, which is the major shape, is the same pattern as the minor shape was up here. That's because there's always that change whenever we hit the 2nd string with like a chord pattern or a scale pattern. It's going to be 1 fret back from where it is in the next set. So I've got, or 1 fret forward, I mean. So here's my D, my 1. My minor shape is going to be on the same fret, 12th fret, 6th string, 3rd string. My minor 3, my 4, my 5. I could keep going up here. 6, 7. I can't really play that D, that 1 up there. So I'll just go back to here. But if I go from here and I go down to the 2, we'll just play the open. Sounds a little funny. Maybe I'll do it this way. And then go down. Major, major, minor, minor, major. So a way that I might go through this scale, because of where the D sits here, I would go 1, 2, 3, and then maybe here I'd go down to the 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So one more time. 1, 2, 3, down to the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. And we'll do the last string set, the 4th string and the 1st string, before we kind of switch between the different string sets, which gives us some interesting ways to play chord progressions. So here we have the 1, open 4th string, 2nd fret on the 1st string, and our major shape is now going to be the same arrangement as it was on the 5th string and the 2nd string. So we've got this, then the 2, the 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and then I keep that shape for the 3, major shape for the 4, 5, minor shape for 6 and 7, and then 1. Got this nice again, I can do any kind of combination of these. And already this sounds pretty cool. It's like a really beautiful sounding interval. Now what I want to do is to look at how we switch between the string sets. So the guitar is tuned generally in fourths, except for the second to third string is just a major third. But since our root notes on all of these different shapes is on the sixth string, fifth string, or fourth string, any movement we're going to do between strings is going to be the movement of a fourth. So if I go from the 4 here on the first string and the fourth string, and I stay on the same fret, go to my 1, my D, on the fifth string and the second string. And then in the same position, if I go to the major shape on the sixth string and third string, then I've got the 5. So I've got 1, 4, 5, 1. It doesn't voice lead very well that way, but there's other ways to kind of voice lead it better that I'll show you in a minute when we get into some of the ways that you can manipulate this top note to create melodic ideas. But just for now, it's good to kind of notice that we can just stay in this one position, play 1, 4, 5, 1. In the same way, if I go to the 2, here's the 5, 2, 5, and my 6 is down here. So I've got 1, 4, 5, then 6, 2, 5 again. These are both the 5. And my 1. So if I go from the 2 and I go down to the 6, it's like this. But I could go from the 2 up to the 6, up here. Got a couple options. Here's my 3, 7, 6, 5, 1. It's kind of a nice sounding pattern. 3. I'm hybrid picking it, doing a little pattern. Play lots of chord progressions by changing between the different string sets. I could do a 1, 6, 2, 5. It's a very common progression. There's other ways I can do that. I could go 1 up to 6, 2 up to 5, 1, or I could do like a 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Another way you can use this is just as like a melodic movement over a single chord. So if I've got a D chord, kind of playing in the background, I can play these passing. I play the 2 as a passing chord, and this 3 is 2 notes straight out of the 1 chord, so it still fits. Do the same thing if I go to the 5 chord. That's a way you can create movement over any chord. I can do the same thing over any of the chords. 4 chord. And yes, I'm playing like a 4, 5, 6, 4, but really it could all be over just like the 4 chord. And looking at this in between one as a passing chord. And then over the 1 chord, I could go 3, 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5, 3. And that 3, again, is 2 notes out of the 1 chord, so it still works. So these are pretty open since they're just 2 notes at a time. Super useful and nice sounding. And one more thing before I do kind of some of the melodic stuff that I want to do with this, I just want to show how you can even do non-diatonic chord progressions that are pretty easy. It's really fun to just kind of explore some of the possibilities here with these shapes. So if I go like this, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I keep this top note the same and I move the bottom note up by 1. It has the sound of kind of a major 2 chord, and I can go to the 5, and then I can do the same movement, moving the bottom note up by 1. Now that's kind of the sound of like a major 3rd going to the 6th. So again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then move that bottom note up by a half step, up to the 5. Move the bottom note up by a half step again. Go 7, 1. And I can do that in reverse. 7, 6. Lower the bottom note by half step for like a flat 6, and 5, and then lower half step and a whole step to the 4, to the 3. I could lower this by a half step to get like a flat 3. Then to the 2, and I could do that same movement again for like a flat 2, 1. Now I've got this kind of cool pattern using some chromaticism on the way down. I could even start it here. Here, let's do it like this. So we'll go 1, 7, move the bottom note a half step down for like a flat 7 sound, to the 6, move the bottom one down a half step for like a flat 6, and I go to the 5, and then I go down to this one, which is like kind of like a major 2 in the key, then to the 4, 3, flat 3, 2, flat 2, 1. I'll play that without talking. Some fun patterns to play with. So next, and finally, I just want to look at some of the melodic notes that I can play to create melodies out of this. This is the basic motion we're going to be working with on all of these. I'm just taking that top note, playing the next note in the scale. In this case, it's just a half step away, and then plucking this note, which I'm using my first finger in a kind of curved way to bar so I can hit the 5th string and the 1st string there. I don't really need to worry about barring all the strings because I'm not playing any of those other notes, so I can just kind of have this little bit of an arched bar. Now I've got the melodic movement of 3, 4, 5. Of course, I can use those notes in any combination. Oops, that actually sounded kind of cool though. I accidentally played the flat 7. But I've also got the ability to play this note with my bar. If I flatten that bar a little more, I got the 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, we can apply this with any of the shapes. Doing the minor shape here. The next note in the scale is a whole step above my top note here. So I've got 2, 3. my 4. I have to reach a whole step between this note and the next note in the scale. This one is a half step difference. This one, the 7th, I'll do it down here. The 7th is a little different because we can't just bar the same fret as our root note here. We have to get back to here. So sometimes I'll do it like this, where I have a bar that's actually kind of tilted so that I can catch that fret up there. It's easier for me up here. That actually isn't very hard to do for me. Down here it's a little more tricky, so you may have to do something like that where you're moving your first finger to play that note. But if I go through these, and I can apply progressions to that. 1 to 4 to 3 to 2 back to 1. And that's, as you can hear, it's like a really nice pretty little melodic motif that you can add to these to make some more interesting sounds. You can do the same thing on the other string sets. We'll go through those two now, the different string sets. So we got strings 6 and 3. I can go like that for my 5 chord. My 6, I'm gonna just bar like I'm playing like a full bar here. I've got this note and this note here. I'm just playing the notes in the scale. This is the 7th, so it's going to be a little trickier. Another way you could do it is just to stay on the same string for that one. That one's a little easier. And then here we are at the 1, 2. We go down to the 3, 4, 5. So that's the 6th and 3rd string. And if we go, I'm going to change it a little bit for the 1st string and the 4th string here, because we don't have another string on this side to play an upper note and on the melody. So I'm just going to do kind of a something like that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So I extended a little bit what I was doing there, but if you're just kind of practicing this, just try to get the little couple of the notes that you can manipulate to make, that you can change to make melodic patterns. and then come up with some ideas over different progressions. Try simple ones like 1, 4, 6, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, those kind of things. But then also you can do this with non-diatonic progressions. So I'll take one like a 1 to a flat 6, to a 4, to a flat 2. I've got a really cool sounding progression, and a lot of times when you're moving a major chord to a non-diatonic note of the scale, like the flat 6, for some reason it's usually the Lydian sound of that raised fourth that sounds the most fitting. You could of course do a regular 4. That sounds cool too, but to me the Lydian always ends up sounding more fitting. And then the last thing is just adding some rhythm to this with like a finger picking pattern. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You can do any different rhythm. But you can add different rhythms using your hybrid picking, or if you're just a straight pick guy. You can strum these if you're good at muting the in-between strings. But I think hybrid picking is just a much easier way to do that. Or straight finger style. Anyway, these are really nice. I hope you get some mileage out of that and can practice them in different keys. You can take whatever we did in this key and obviously just slide it around to different keys. Try playing the scales up and down, then try coming up with some more musical ideas of your own.